I'm going to turn it over to Chelsea Burnett now. She is what part of Texas Storm Chasers. Whenever there's inclement weather, crazy weather, tornadoes going on, the rest of us are running in the other direction, and she is running right towards it to understand and seek to showcase the amazing natural phenomena that is a tornado. So Chelsea, thank you so much for joining us, and take us away.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody. I am Chelsea Burnett with Texas Storm Chasers, and I am coming to you live from Texas. We're in the middle of probably what's going to be a historic winter event. So for those of you up north, especially you, Jesse and Joe in Canada, y'all are probably laughing at us, but it's cold here. Our electric company is making us draw back on the energy usage. So I'm coming to you live from this, but we're going to talk about something a little bit more fun. We're going to talk about storm chasing. I'm going to showcase to you all videos and pictures and talk a little bit about my journey as a female, as a mom, as an adult going through this. So I'm going to talk a little bit about me at first. I'm going to show you guys some videos, and then we're going to talk about how you all can learn more about weather, about becoming a meteorologist, or just about storm chasing in general. So I'm going to share my screen here. We're going to get through this slide presentation, and then I will be wide open for questions. So here we go with the sharing my screen. And I am going to pick this. Here we go. All right, so again, my name is Chelsea Burnett. I am from the state of Oklahoma. So I did not grow up in Texas. I grew up in the heart of Tornado Alley. Oklahoma is just one of many states in Tornado Alley. And here are just some pictures of my life right here. So I started out as a cute little kid, just like you guys here. Here I am standing on top of a mountain here that my dad took a picture of me of. He probably knew this would be iconic because I hate heights, all right? I do not like heights. I don't like jumping off a high dive. So you can tell by the grimace in my face there. But I went on to grow up to be a teenager, and then I moved to Texas as an adult, but more in between that. So I grew up in Oklahoma, right? I was never scared of storms. That was the first tip that my family figured out as I grew up. As a toddler, as a baby, I was never really scared of storms. In fact, some of my memories are waking up in the middle of the night to a thunderstorm, getting up, peeking out the blinds, watching the lightning strike over our house, you know. And so I was really enthralled with weather, and I never gave it another thought or wondered why. So my other memory as a kid enjoying weather was sixth grade Earth Sciences class. Mrs. Shivers, I will never forget her name. We covered the chapter on weather, and that's when that light bulb went on for me, like, wow, this is super interesting. I want to learn more. That following year, when I was in seventh grade, that is when one of the biggest impactful weather events happened to our community. And that was the May 3rd, 1999 tornado outbreak across central Oklahoma. So that weather event really struck my interest, and it really drew me in even more. So I went on through high school and then through college, wanting to be a meteorologist, wanting to be a storm chaser. That was my plan A. That's the only plan I had. So when I told my seventh grade math teacher what I wanted to do, he said, that's great. He said, you need to know as much math as possible. So I did great with algebra. I did okay with geometry. I did great with trigonometry in high school, in algebra 1 and 2 and all that, until I got to college. I had my first semester at the University of Oklahoma, which is the mecca for storm chasers who are wanting to obtain a degree in meteorology. So that mecca here in Texas would be Texas Tech, I think, but we're only going to talk about OU here. So I went off to OU, and my first semester there, for anybody that has heard of college coursework, you know that a summer semester is really quick. Okay, it's quick, it's condensed, it's compact, it's a lot coming at you. I decided it would be a great idea to take pre-calculus at OU during the summer. I got a C. So as you can probably tell, this foundation was not getting built right, okay? This foundation was shaky to build on to continue through the Oklahoma School of Meteorology program, and I was not able to pass Calculus 1 because of that. So I was not able to advance to Calculus 2, 3, 4, and all the other math classes I needed. So remember that plan A I had? Didn't have a plan B. So my family invited me to move to Texas, just to kind of get my feet back on the ground, kind of figure out life and what I wanted to do, since my plan fell through to graduate from the School of Meteorology at OU. So moved here to Texas in 2007, Went on to get my degree, but in business from a local university, which, to be honest, has probably helped me out more in life than the meteorology degree. So I grew up in Texas, or I'm sorry, I moved to Texas, and then I met owner of Texas Storm Chasers, David Reimer, in 2010 at a local weather conference. So there for a little bit, I was pulled away from weather. Now I'm pulled back into it by meeting this guy. And the following year, he's like, hey, you want to come on a storm chase? So this is me right here in the middle with my first wall cloud ever. So it doesn't look like much. It doesn't look very scary, probably to some of you, but this was my very first wall cloud. This picture right here in the middle. So this was very iconic for me. This was moving for me. This was the moment that I was like, okay, here we go. Like, this is a thing. I can actually do this. So after that, though, I went on to get married. I went on to have a baby. I went on to buy a house. I went on to graduate college. So all these adult things kind of got in the way. So I didn't resume weather until probably 2015 when I saw my first tornado, which was the day after Christmas and at night. If you know anything about weather and tornadoes, you know that's a very odd time of the year to see tornadoes. So that was my first tornado, and since then I have seen 27 tornadoes and counting. So the rest of these pictures here are just some snapshots into my journey as a storm chaser. We've had a film crew with us once. They were from Germany. They came over, they storm chased with us. It was a good time. And I wanted to showcase with you all my favorite photo of all time of lightning. It's this right here. It was taken in Kansas back in 2019. Very electrifying, if you will. So moving along here, I'm going to showcase my first video here. So it's got some dramatic music to it. This is just my favorite compilation of tornado videos. So here we go. Oh my goodness. Yes, I'm sure some of you guys are wondering, what is her insurance like on her car? So, all right, so storm chasers, why? Why do we get out there and put ourselves in that situation? Well, you guys may or may not know that severe thunderstorm watches, tornado watches, and warnings, all of those products are issued by the entity called the National Weather Service. Well, the National Weather Service has their team of meteorologists in the office analyzing models, watching radar. What they don't have is eyes on the ground, boots on the ground. They don't have a real-time look at what these storms are doing. That's where storm chasers come into play. So right here, how do we do that? Well, technology has advanced in recent years, and we use an app on our phone called Radarscope. Over here on the left is a snapshot of what the radar looked like on this particular day. And that target look is my location. So I'm able to open up a window in that app. I'm able to choose to make a report, and I'm able to make whatever report I need to here listed on the right. So I can report a tornado, I can report a funnel cloud, hail, flooding, anything that I find worthy of reporting we can. That way the National Weather Service can feel more confident when they issue those tornado warnings, so severe thunderstorm warnings, flash flood warnings, all those things that we get alerts for on our phones comes from the National Weather Service and storm chasers being out in the field, being able to confirm what the meteorologists see on radar. So when I'm not storm chasing, though, this is what I do. I get out and I talk to area schools, I talk to clubs, I talk to organizations about severe weather and storm chasing here in North Texas and also across the US and Canada. So that is what I do with my time, because obviously I can't be chasing storms all the time. So I'd like to get out there and talk to you all about what I do and about severe weather Awareness. So with that said, how can you learn more? How can you take those stepping stones toward becoming a meteorologist or a storm chaser? Well, here are a few resources that I have utilized personally or that I find very useful for you all. So first thing, if you're in elementary school, the Young Meteorologist program is a great program to have your parents help you get online for. There's PDFs of all different kinds of things that you can print out from your computer and do on your own. And then there's the National Geographic magazines. There's Weatherwise magazines, Earth magazines. All these magazines back in the day, I had to go to a local library or my school library to check out, right? And I had to wait maybe if they were all checked out. You all have the advantage of going online and getting these resources at any time. So that's really cool. Next, we have YouTube Kids app. With your parents' permission, you can get on a YouTube Kids and look up any type of weather video that you want on there. And then next, if you're in middle school, high school, I've seen kids as young as 4th grade take this class, but it's called the Skywarn Storm Spotter Training Class. And again, back in my day, whenever I took this class multiple times, we had to enroll and sign up for the 1 day a year that it was done. And if you missed out on that date, you missed out on that date. Now they offer it online as well at any time. So, and then there is the Texas Storm Chasers app. That's my shameless plug into a little bit about Texas Storm Chasers. We have an app for the Apple Store, for Android store. So it's free. All these resources are free that I listed here. The Texas Storm Chasers app has a HD interactive radar. We post blogs on events like this winter storm we're about to get. We get a push notification to your phone or your device anytime that we do anything with that. And again, all of these things are free and they're fun because I've either done it or I've seen it, and I highly recommend these. So with that said, that's my portion of the presentation. I just wanted to give you a quick snapshot into what it's like to be a storm chaser. So if you have any pictures or videos or story to share, here's my email, here's our website. We're also available by searching Texas Storm Chasers on any sort of social media platform, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We are even on TikTok. We just got a TikTok 2 weeks ago, and we've been posting some amazing content on there. So with that said, I will toss it back to you guys. Stop sharing my screen here, and we will take some questions.
Fantastic. Well, Chelsea, what fun that was. Thank you so much for sharing a bit of your story and for highlighting the personal elements of it. I mean, it's really exciting the work you get to do, but I think in a lot of presentations it gets lost that there's a person behind all that. And so I really appreciate the chance to hear about that aspect of it. So thank you.
Of course.
All right. Before we dive into the questions, I want to note for all our folks tuning in on YouTube or Facebook, share your questions in the chat bar. We're going to take as many as we can over the next 5-10 minutes or so. So get those ready. Don't be shy. I'm going to start with a lot of the questions we get around storms are the size of storms. People are obsessed with big storms. Have you ever had the chance to be part of or to witness an F4 or F5 tornado? And could you explain a little bit more about what those are?
Absolutely. So Jesse is talking about tornadoes that are on the higher end of the scale that tornadoes are measured on, which is the EF scale or the enhanced Fujita scale. So Fujita is just the name of the scientist who came up with the scale back in the 1940s. So yes, it goes from an EF0 to an EF5. And I think you can guess which one is the worst one, right? So yes, the biggest of tornadoes are on the EF5 side of the scale. And I witnessed an EF4 back in 2016 in the state of Kansas. This tornado, we watched it from birth until end. This tornado ended up being EF4, and it was on the ground for 90 minutes. That's an hour and a half of pure tornado awesomeness. We were within a quarter mile of this storm. We were able to track it as it moved along east and northeast. It stayed away from major towns. In fact, it just clipped the southern part of the town that we were near. There were no deaths. So this was just a well-rounded storm to be able to document and study and just watch and just enjoy. So that was probably the biggest storm I've ever chased. Yeah. Good question.
Very cool. Thanks, Chelsea. And so when you're chasing a storm, is this like you're just like sitting around at home and then, oh, there's a storm down the street, you get in your car and you're there in 10 minutes? Or what is the process actually like?
It's a very drawn out process. So depending on what kind of chaser you are, if you're a leisurely chaser or you want to get out there and chase everything, us chasers start with the basics, which are the models, which there are several different types of major models that the storm chasers follow online. That can be the NAM, the North American model. That could be the GFS, the Global Forecasting System model. All these different models that all these different meteorologists, TV meteorologists watch. And we usually start tracking some systems a few days out, maybe up to a week if we really trust it. But as that system comes closer, or as those ingredients start coming together with the models, we also pay attention to another entity, and that is called the Storm Prediction Center, or the SPC. They're the ones that issue the outlooks that tornado or that storm chasers watch, and they issue those out 8 days in advance. So they have a D1, which is for today, D2 is tomorrow, D3, so on and so forth. So we check each one of those, and we check to see what the storm prediction has to say about the upcoming weather as well, that we see signals on in the models. So once that date gets closer, we start to be able to pinpoint, okay, when are we going to leave? Where are we going to go? How much do we need to pack? We check our work schedules, because most storm chasers are family people. We can't just go, oh, that's next Tuesday. Okay, yeah. So it's a lot of planning. It's a lot of getting together with other people, with other storm chasers, grouping together, chasing in one vehicle, splitting the bill, that kind of thing. So there's a lot that goes into the planning.
Yeah. And so once you get there, one of the things with storm chasing, of course, that most people think of is they think of danger. This is something where you could theoretically be putting your life on the line, and it's something where, what is the prep like for that? How do you make sure that you're in the best possible position to not have any of those risks and that you can safely come home to your family at the end of the day?
Good question. So situational awareness is definitely key. And the Skywarn Storm Spotter training is a great basis for that. It teaches you the things to look for, and it teaches you the things to kind of watch out for. So the situational awareness just meaning know your paths of egress, which is know which direction you're going to go if you feel like you're in danger. So if you're heading into a rural area, which to be honest, that's where a lot of this weather happens, we want to make sure that we know our east-west roads, north-south roads. Sometimes these GPS products are old or they're outdated. Some of the roads lead to empty fields, and those fields get rain soaked and you get stuck. So you just have all these things you have to watch out for. You also need to know which direction the storms are moving and how fast they're moving. So a good idea is to set up a few miles ahead of where a storm is coming from and let it come to you, because that way you can adjust your location as needed. If storms are flying in at 50, 60 miles per hour, chances are we're just going to kind of let it go and just kind of ride along with it. But if it's a very slow moving storm, it gives us plenty of time to adjust where we need to be. It gives us plenty of time to prep. So it depends on the storm mode. It depends on the area where you're at and the training you've had. So awesome question. Thank you.
Yeah. And so, I guess the last question, the danger element of it, if you're in a car, if you're in a house, if a tornado is coming your way, what should you do? If anyone's ever in this situation, what's the latest and greatest in advice?
Well, just a disclaimer, this is advice strictly from the National Weather Service. I'm no expert, but these are just tips to help. And these are things that I would personally do. So first off, if you're in a car, everybody has that question. Everybody worries about that situation. If you're in a car and you see a tornado coming, the first thing to try to do is not panic. Don't panic yet. Watch the tornado. If you see it just coming straight at you like this, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger in your windshield, you need to move, because that means it's coming at you. If you see the tornado, going across the horizon one way or another, chances are you're okay. But I would still look around for a ditch. I would look around for a space to get out of your car and lie as flat as possible, because vehicles can go airborne. That wind can get up underneath the vehicle and toss the vehicle. So what you want to do is lie as flat as possible on a lowest spot of the ground, which is usually a ditch. So if you're in your home, if you're in a two-story like me, I'm in my upstairs office right now, I would not seek shelter here. I would go downstairs. I would find my bathroom, which has no windows. It also has several walls between me and the outside. Also underneath my stairs, we have a cute little cubby hole that we can open up, and we can crawl underneath our stairs if we need to, because all of those spots are centrally located in the middle of the house. So There you have it.
Fantastic. What a great bunch of advice, and good to know. So you had talked at the beginning again about some of the personal situations that you need to address and figure out when you're doing storm chasing. So you're sort of the epitome of someone who follows this as a passion. It's not necessarily your day job. It's something you do because you love to do it. So if I'm a girl or a boy watching this program today and I want to be inspired, like what's some advice you give about following your passion and being inspired and getting out there and just doing it?
Stick to it. Remain consistent, have a plan, have several plans. Don't just have one plan like I did. Surround yourself with people who support you. Surround yourself with people who have those same interests as you. Depending on your situation with social media, it's a very easy way to connect with those people. Do it with caution and with your parents' permission, of course. But talk about it in school. You know, if you really love something and it makes you kind of lose time and you kind of get lost in it, talk about that with your friends. Find which of those friends are the same way as you, and you'll be more self-propelled to get out there and achieve your goals and to keep grinding and to never give up.
Fantastic. What a beautiful message. And again, I hope that you're back to be able to go to classrooms in person as much as humanly possible. In the meantime, it is so much fun having you in a digital setting. You mentioned at the end of your slide there, TexasStormChasers.com. Do check that out. Incredible resources. You can learn a whole bunch, some of the amazing apps, and the personal email that Chelsea provided today if you want to follow up with more questions. But before we wrap up today, is there any last message you'd like to share with kids that are keen on storms? They want to get out there. They want to explore these things themselves.
A lot of us involved in storm chasing and meteorology and just science in general, you know, we're usually the outcasts. We're usually the nerdy kids, and we're usually the ones that get picked on. I was a picked on kid in school. In fact, I had a speech impediment. I had a stutter that I had to go to counseling for and I had to work through. Those things are just going to be normal, and just know that that is just part of it and that you'll get past it. And again, if you surround yourself with those friends and those family who support you and your mission, there's nothing that's going to stop you. So thank you.
That is a beautiful message, and thank you so much, Chelsea. I think that's so important to share with kids and with adults. So I appreciate it. Thank you so much for spending some time with us today. And to wrap up our epic second day of our Women Blaze Trails Fest, couldn't have done it with a better person. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Happy to have been here.